Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, an egregious injury. Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Ahoy and a half. Fewer things are more humbling than when you go to the obvious place where you left something and it is obviously not there anymore.
I always find it's very humbling when you go to the one place, the last place you've looked, which is the most obvious, and it's sitting right there waiting for you. You're like,
no, mine was most.
Of course, that's where it is, right where I left it.
Yes. No, I went to the place which was right where I left it, and I was like, oh, it's not there. And then you have to think of like the second most obvious place, and you're like, nope, I have no idea. I'm completely clueless. And then you just start your frantic search. And it devolves from there.
I'm glad that you had to search it down. And where was it? Listeners, Collin lost his water.
I did. I
got this text 5 minutes ago. Like, yeah, hold on, I can't find my water.
Which is such an old man thing to say. I would have sworn.
Are you dad? Was it in the microwave?
It was not. No, I did not microwave my water. I would have paid good money that it was upstairs on my dresser, right? So I went, I gotta run up here, grab my water. It's not there. And I was like, well, but like, didn't I bring it upstairs? Then I went into the bathroom because maybe I sit next to this. Nope, it's not next to the sink. Then I was like, then I went downstairs and it wasn't next to the couch and it wasn't in that bathroom. And it's next to the sink in the kitchen. Of
course. You were in the middle of refilling it, and then these things happen.
Yes. Anyway, so that was my adventure today. Yeah. I mean,
what a exciting adventure.
And I'm also slightly losing my voice, so I am very sorry if I need to clear it.
Are you yelling at dogs and children too much today? Or are you like,
no,
I said come here. Or is it that surprise 80-degree November day that just got you down?
No.
What the heck is this?
I think that is part of it. So I spent yesterday and today in the remote location in doing interviews. So I was doing lots of in-person interviews, which is lots of talking. However, the prior 2 days before that, I had this like kind of chronic headache that wasn't going away.
That's not great.
And I was like, oh, this is weird. And it's funny you should mention the 80-degree weather, because I was sitting yesterday in a coffee shop wearing a hoodie, long pants, and my closed-toed shoes, and all of a sudden I shivered. And I went, well, this is unfortunate. And over the course of yesterday, I slowly like deteriorated to the point where like I was nauseous, my throat was on fire, I had a raging headache, I was coughing, and I just felt like very unwell. But I still felt okay enough to like, I was still thinking and writing things and doing stuff, but it was like I'm not gonna say very unwell, but it was that weird, like I was at 80% and the rest was, I felt like crap and I was just in a fog. And it was very unpleasant. So much so that at 4:30 I was lying in bed yesterday.
Oh, wow. What a fun time this has been.
Yes. And then I woke up this morning and I felt at about like 95%. And so that's been fun. That was my fun adventure yesterday.
I mean, it's a good turnaround. I like this.
Yeah, we're on the right trajectory,
right?
Huh?
This is a nice turnaround. I like that a lot.
Grief, so man, that was my actual adventure of feeling like garbage.
Well, hooray! What?
So I get the sick, deep tones of congestion, I guess.
Oh, well, just what you've always wanted, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hello. Oh, goodness. So yeah, that's the flash update. I don't know what's been brewing with you.
Let's see. Well, I have. We'll start with the egregious injury that I have sustained
Oh
to
no.
myself here. This is wait. Yes, okay. So wait for this story. This is great fun.
Okay.
We were talking about like faults and folding in class, right? So we started our earthquake unit for science, right? So we talk well the earthquake section of geology, rather, I should say. And so talking about that, we've got first we talk about like what happens when the tectonic plates move at a normal pace, right? So like we have folded layers and we have faulting and the different types of fault movement and all this kind of stuff, right? And then we build that into okay, so what happens when the earth, the tectonic plates and the faults move fast, right? That's the earthquake part, right? So so I was doing a demonstration about folding and like kind of what it looks like. So I took my carpet squares, I took like 4 carpet squares, and I set them on top of each other and I pushed the edges together, right? Because then you can see all the layers bending and moving together, right? Like that, right? Makes sense. So it's a good visual, right? And so one of the classes, I had it sitting on my podium, right? And I don't know why I did this, but on the other ones, I had it sitting on a desk in the front because there was a person not there, right? So I put it on the desk, and then I have a carpet square, okay, and I put my palms on the carpet square with my fingers on top, and I pushed them together, right? Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't. When I put it on my so far, there's no possible way you could injure yourself doing any of these moves.
When I did it on my podium, because of the way I was standing and how high it was, I had my hands inverted and I had my fingers under the carpet squares with my palms on the top, right? So I was like, I was holding them. Like I started pushing them together and like I don't know if it was like caught on something or caught on the edge of my podium. I don't know what happened, but like they were caught there. And when I shoved them together, my fingers raked across the hinges on the top of my podium because it has the little top thing that opens up. And so I raked my fingers, one finger on each hand, just right across the edge of that hinge. And so my right hand, it just like nicked it a little bit, right? But my left hand, good gravy, it's right at my cuticle is where I hit the hinge, right? And so this hinge scraped across, like perpendicularly across my finger, like right at my cuticle. And so on my right hand, it's just like it poked it a little bit and then it like slid off. But the way that my left hand was positioned, it just dug and just ripped a huge, it's like bruised. Like, I don't know. It hurt so bad. And I was very proud of myself because I did that in the middle of class. And then I just kind of stopped and went, man, that hurt. And then I flipped the slide. I was like, okay, you guys need to go write this down. I'm going to be right back because I'm bleeding profusely.
Oh my gosh.
And I went to the bathroom and I have Band-Aids in my room, right? For when the children get injured. So I bandaged myself up. And then later on at recess, I went down to the nurse and I was like, hey, because I was like, it like ripped my cuticle thing.
Oh, sure.
It's so bad. It's like, it's bleeding through my Band-Aid, right? It's like a slow, because every time you move it, it like, it's so mobile that every time you move it, it like won't seal, right? You like won't start scabbing. So I went down and I was like, the nurses were like, what do you need? And I was like, I need help. I have injured myself doing science. And I told them what I did, and they both went, no, what? No.
Oh, that's excellent. Whenever the school nurses are
the nurse is like, oh God. So I was like, so I have come for new band-aids and some antiseptic cream. That I thought that would be a good idea. And she was like, yes, sit down. And so I was like,
don't move.
They didn't even let me, but they took pity upon my idiocy, and they wouldn't even let me apply my own bandages. She was like, come here.
You've done enough damage already.
Yeah. She's like, you don't, please, not trustworthy enough.
Exactly.
To help me. And so they bandaged me up. So I've been walking around all day, band-aids on both. And I went to go give Susan a paper. She was in the library, and I walked in, and she goes, hi, what did you do? I was like, what? Listen, it's fine. It's okay.
Of course.
So yeah,
why are you broken?
Yeah, they were laughing at my misfortune, but holy cannoli, that hurt real bad. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I took the Band-Aid off a little while ago, so I had it on again at school today. And the one on my right hand is like fine. My left hand, it's just right on my index finger on my left hand. It's just like it's like shredded.
Yeah,
right
no, that's no good.
Yeah, and weirdly, the other confusing part, I guess, I don't know how my hands were positioned, but it's my middle finger on my right hand and my index finger on my left hand. So I guess it was just that. I don't know. Don't really know what happened, but that's just weird. But yeah, that was my big assignment for yesterday. I tried to rip my own finger off.
Boy, that sure is something else. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun. That's what.
Okay. So have fun healing from that. And what a terrible injury. It's
really not pleasant, right? It's really not very. It's like the most annoying spot. I mean, it was even like I was like bending my finger like last night before I went to bed, and it started like bleeding again.
Grr. See, the way I thought you were headed with this conversation was I thought it was going to be like one of those old man injuries of like, well, I was bending down to tie my shoe and sneezed and I like busted a rib or something.
No.
That's why I thought you were going with this, of like you had just like you had done something with your shoulder because you were pushing things together. But this is a truly horrific injury.
Yeah, I tried to rip my finger off on a hinge. So that's fun.
Nice. Okay, well. That's nightmare fuel.
It was
sure.
Yeah, there you go. No, you'll love that.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that so much. I can't tell you how much that means to. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So did that. Still getting ready for the carnival.
Oh yeah. Where? How have things come, or have they not gone any further?
Well, yeah. So I scoured my cabinets, and I have enough beakers and things to play ping pong skee ball with lab equipment. So I think that's what we're gonna do.
That's like mad scientist skee ball.
Yeah, that's a good. Oh, I like that. Yeah. They didn't have a good name for it, so I just called it skee ball, even though it's like not really a skee ball.
Sure,
because they're like it needs a name. Like it's a game that I made up right now. Of a name? I don't know. I'm coming up with this stuff as I go, man. Give me a break. So, right, but yeah, so it's that's coming. I think I have all the stuff. So we got some candy the other day for prizes. So, hooray! So that'll be good. I'm gonna test it out tomorrow. Gonna set up some stuff during my plan time. Test it out a little bit. See how it goes. Probably have the kids help me test it out. I can have first hour test it out because they don't have anything to me. Yeah, okay, there we
go.
They got to do stuff. They don't have to do stuff tomorrow because I also had so I'm doing my thing today, right? And whatever, and then the head maintenance guy shows up and he goes, "Hey, this guy was here today, and I talked to him before already, right? He's a archaeologist."
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, archaeologist guy came. And so I'd already had one class, and he was already here because he had talked to like the fourth grade about some stuff. And he was like, he wanted to know if he could just come talk to your class today. I was like, well, yeah, I guess so. He's good. One of the groups is going to miss him, so that's not ideal. But
yeah,
now I don't have to call him later, so he'll just come today, right? He'll just come today. So
ta-da!
he had a bunch of stuff with him, so that's cool. So I talked a little bit about. He showed him some he's got like an extremely extensive arrowhead, spear point
guy.
tool collection, right? He was just like had been on a dig this weekend, so
how does that happen?
How does what happen?
How is he going on these digs? Like, what does he do for this stuff?
He was actually doing. He knows some dudes, right? He was hooked up with some people. They were working, like with like Cahokia stuff.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know how much I should say because they discovered new things this weekend. I'll tell you later.
Said enough. There you go.
But like they made like some post Cahokia discoveries, right, at undisclosed location that I will censor for purposes because they haven't, literally. He said they found it like 2 days ago. So we'll get. We're not gonna blow that, but he made some. He told the kids, so I'll tell you. But I won't tell where.
No,
we'll keep that.
No.
But spoilers. It was not in Cahokia. Boom. So Cahokia mound culture, right? Early. He had a timeline. I couldn't see it, but he had a timeline because he had showing the kids. Obviously, he was not like he wouldn't show it to me. Like I couldn't see it from my angle.
Like, oh wow, this is cool.
Yes. So as not my area of expertise, right? But we do have Cahokia mound culture in the Midwest, right? Mm-hmm. Like a big trading center in was now Illinois, right? So basically St. Louis,
yes,
right? But just the Illinois side.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not an accident that the French were like, yes, here is where we shall build a city on the river, right? Not really an accident. Sure. They did that, right? There was already one there, kind of from the natives, right?
Sure.
But big cultural hub, like big trading expo from like, a lots of the region here. Missouri, like literal crossroads at this time, right? And so after they left there, it's kind of like where there's like this big mystery in archaeology, like so where did they go, right? Like the other one is like why did they go, right? Could be like drought or the Mississippi moves around and does weird things, right? Drought or maybe too much flooding because that's also a Mississippi River thing.
It likes to do that, yes.
So it does that. And so they left, and there's not a lot of evidence of where they have gone. And so he was out on a dig this weekend, and they found several artifacts that point to like post-Cahokian settlements in other places, but like with similar cultural artifacts and stuff, right? So I will text you the undisclosed location right now, so you don't like have to wait in suspense. But yeah, that's what he came today. He showed the kids a bunch of stuff. It was pretty cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah. But we got a little sidetracked with our things, but
no. Well, I mean, if there's something to be sidetracked about, it would be something cool like that.
Yeah. So it fits in a little bit. It's not like exactly the same, right? Because we don't do like that kind of stuff, right? But we can tie it to other things, right? Because we talked about like rock layers and like soil layers, and that stuff crosses over. We will talk later about like rocks and like rock composition and their uses and things like that, and so that will go. And he had some like stuff, and he had like he was talking about like how vast this trade network was, and like he said you can actually find, it's like not common, but you can find. He said there's only like 20 some pieces found, but it's like you can find obsidian arrowheads and spear points and stuff in Missouri, right?
Really?
Yeah. Again, not common. He said only like 20 some have been found like ever.
Huh.
Right. But again, these obsidian pieces come from Mexico. Right? Because that's where the volcanic activity is. And that was the trade network, right? It was that that far. Right? A lot of this stuff was that far away. And they found evidence on both sides of that they were traveling back and forth, you know. Because they find like flint pieces and weird stuff in Mexico. And that's not where that comes from, right? It's like Missouri flint that's there, you know.
Wow.
So they have these kind of eked out trade network things, but he was talking about that. And so I was like, oh yeah, hold on. And so I just whipped out I was like, I have some normal obsidian. And he goes, what? It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. So I just ripped out, pulled out. Thing. I was like, here's what it starts out like. And then that's what it turns into. And the kids thought that was cool that they could see a little bit about that. So
yeah. Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. They enjoyed it. So that was fun. But yeah, that was the other thing I just said. Had a random archaeologist just wandering around the hallway.
Just one of those normal days.
Yeah, normal day. Just finding archaeologists roaming the halls.
As
wheel
you
them
do.
into class. So yeah. So that was the other thing we did today. That was cool. Pretty good. And then let's see. Other things. Oh, over the weekend, I didn't mention this last time. We went to the school musical. Right?
Oh,
yes, it was musical time.
Nice.
So we went to go see that. It was really good. They did The Wizard of Oz. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh.
So it was actually pretty cool. They did a really good job. The set department really did a good job this time. Right? Lots of cool stuff. They had lots of cool, like, I don't know, because our auditorium is not like super big. And again, they like built it and they were, the whole thing is kind of a disappointment because they're like, oh yeah, we're going to build an auditorium. And then you go in there and you go, oh.
Yeah.
You
remember there being the initial reviews of these few episodes.
Yeah, a long time ago, listeners. You long-time listeners will have heard this, but if you're new here, this is basically, it was like, we're going to build an auditorium. And then they had the big unveiling, and I went in there and I said, you've never seen an auditorium, have you? Yes. Whoever designed this? Like, it was very... like, there's not a lot of stage space. There's like not any backstage, which is weird, right?
Oh,
like, do the whole thing, and if that's the whole point, like, why would you do that? Like, I don't know. But they did a good job of using their space, so they like really did because like in our thing, there's like this huge area where like what you would traditionally call the pit, right? It's massive. It's like tens of feet across. Okay, it's dumb. So they just like were like, okay, and they just they just used all of that space for some of the stuff, right?
Oh no!
And they had some stage risers off to the side to like build a little extra onto the stage to bring it out and stuff. So
sure,
they used their space really in interesting ways, which was cool. So it was really neat, and they designed a bunch of cool stuff. And so yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. A lot of kids there, a lot of the former kids now in high school doing musically things. So that was fun too. I'd see them. And yeah, so my view of the production of Wizard of Oz, pretty good. I've never seen, I don't think, the musical version of the Wizard of Oz. Right?
Yeah.
I believe our high school did it once, and we were going to go watch it, but they were like sold out. And like they had sold out tickets, so we couldn't go see. Like when I was in like 7th or 8th grade. So I almost saw The Wizard of Oz once a long time ago.
Wow. Really sounds.
Yeah. I remember we were going to go and like, but they didn't have any tickets and stuff. They like sold out of the tickets for the thing. That's really weird. I don't know. But so I've never seen the stage version of Wizard of Oz or any stage version of The Wizard of Oz. So it was pretty interesting to see how it translates from screen to stage. Right.
Yeah.
It's overall very similar. There's some weird things like there's no flying monkeys in this version.
And hard
there's
to do
like
those.
some weird jitterbug things that make you dance. I don't know if that's in all the versions. I don't know. That was weird. And there's like some other parts that just like aren't in there just because either we cut them because we didn't, for runtime sake.
Yeah.
Or they're just not there in general or runtime sake or just for adaptation. Like it's some things just don't translate across mediums,
For sure.
So you're just like, oh, I don't need that part here. We don't need to do like there wasn't a lot of introduction about like the movie. They have the whole big like long drawn out opening thing where it's like, oh, you can see all her uncles and stuff, and then like they're gonna be they're the same people that are like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the weird neighbor lady is that none of that stuff was in there, which is fine because like that's not hypercritical to the story, right? So that wasn't some of that stuff wasn't there. Some like random scenes weren't in there, but again, not a huge deal. They did have the Munchkins played by like elementary kids, which is kind of funny. Right. Okay, so they're like third and fourth graders being the Munchkins.
Super cute.
Yes. The climax, the big climax scene was funny too because they didn't like it wasn't a thing where like the witch got wet and then she melted. Right.
Oh,
it was like it wasn't that she was trying to give Dorothy like a shrinking potion, like Alice in Wonderland style, right? To like shrink her down so that you could capture her or something. I don't remember.
Oh, see, yeah, okay.
But then the witch got knocked into the pot, right? The kettle, if you will. And so she ran screaming off the side of the stage, right? And then they put the hat on one of the kids, and then she ran across to the other side. Right. And then she then they switched hats to like one of the smaller kids. And then she ran back across the side.
Okay, that's hilarious.
The visual gag was hysterical. Right.
That is amazing. Yes.
But they were just going like, ah, and it was like running back and forth. And every time they came on stage, they were littler. Because they were just wearing like a black thing, right? They just like, put it on them. And then they just so it was really that was like the best part of the whole thing.
No, see that kind of thing that works really well in that setting for sure. Like that's really adorable.
Yeah, it was so funny. And so they just were like, that was my favorite part. Like just that visual gag of like the witch running across, but like being a smaller person every time was really hysterical.
Bravo.
Bravo to whoever came up with that. I don't know if that's in the script or if that was the theater department, but good job there because that's funny.
Yes. Yeah, I can use a space. Yeah, you can't have somebody shrinking in front of you, right? That's kind of hard to pull off. And
unless you're Rick Moranis.
As previously discussed.
Yeah, so that was funny. There was other good visual jokes too, but that was the best part. That was my favorite. Like, it was just hilarious. Like, oh my gosh, what am I watching? What? It was just really funny. So I like that part. That gag was great. And everybody did a really good job, right? Like it was just really good. Like I was impressed with because that's like a big makeup production, right? Makeup and costumes in this one are like a big deal. Because like a lot of the other ones they've done in the past have been like thoroughly modern Millie.
Oh.
Oklahoma. Right. Like these are not big, like it's just like some dudes in a cowboy hat, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like not like a big deal. They did the Little Shop of Horrors. But again, that again also featuring Rick Moranis, really. We got but again, it's not like a real makeup-y. So they have like cool costumes, but like This one, I was really impressed with, like the costume design and all the makeup work that they did on it, because like it's really intensive to have a scarecrow in the Tin Man, and the lion costume was fantastic. It was really good, and the witch and the stuff. So there was a lot of really good makeup and costume design in this one. So it's like I thought it was really good, and really different from one of the ones that I've ever done before. So good job. Boom. There we go. 2 thumbs up. Not biased even a little bit.
No,
because I know everybody in the production. Not even a little biased.
No, it's actually in spite of that bias that you still remain.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It was fun. It was good.
We towards the end of last week, I went to a business mixer here locally. Another one. Those are always fun. And
are they?
This one, they're a thing. They're a thing that happens.
They exist. There's
a product in our lineup. I went, and I was pretty excited because the last time I went to this particular one, it paid off pretty well, getting to meet new people. This time when I came in, I didn't really get to make it very far. Then, like, some people kind of glommed onto me to try and make some sales pitches.
Oh no!
Which is my personal favorite.
Oh yes, yes. Well documented. You love over-attached salesmen. Yeah, it's really good.
And I felt even worse because one of them was actually like a client of ours.
Oh no, awkward.
Who switched jobs and now is selling like internet or whatever to people from a new fiber company. And hold on just a moment.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that. Had an eavesdropper dropping some eaves, if you will, sir.
Oh no. Hopefully you didn't send them to Mount Doom.
No, did not. However, they were trying to write down phrases that I was saying.
Illegal. You gotta wait for the episode to come out.
Exactly. Also, they were supposed to be asleep an hour and a half ago.
I was gonna say this is way past bedtime. Yes. So I know. Yeah. So tell her that she has to wait until the episode comes out, just like everybody else, to hear what happened. No sneak peekerinos.
No. Sneak peekerinos. Oh my gosh. So anyway,
anyway.
So anyway,
customer trying to make you their customer.
Yes,
sneaky. All right, what's this? Another.
Yes, they went and have now been with a new company that basically is selling access to fiber internet in the area, and really wants to know that she's available for this, and really wanted to talk about what kind of internet speeds we had at the house right now.
Oh no.
Hurts. It really hurts. And talk about how good symmetrical speeds were, and even if you had 100 and 100, it'd probably be pretty great, and all this stuff. And it's like, oh well, this is how the last mile things work, and how we can do blah blah blah, and it's really blah 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 and blah. And I was just like, okay, like I'm ready for this to be, for you to stop talking to me. And then while I'm talking with this person, I sit down because I'm like, okay, I need to eat. I'm really hungry. I turn, and this guy comes over and he makes a beeline straight for me, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Like, no, I'm trying to eat this
and
salad or whatever. I don't know.
It was like it was hors d'oeuvre finger food stuff kind of thing.
I didn't know if it was gonna be like, yeah, if this and who put it on, right? I didn't know if it was gonna be like potluck style or just like random snack stuff style. Like I didn't know if it was like casseroles everywhere or like
no, it was it was partly catered, partly like went to the store and bought things for it kind of thing. So it was fine.
Say no more.
Right. And it's a newer guy. He comes over and like really excited to talk to me and just starts picking my brain about like, what's your customer acquisition and what's your blah 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 and what's this and I'm a little caught off guard by this, and I come to find out
he my pinwheel, bro. Calm down, man.
Look, there are a lot of very interesting degrees that individuals can get out there in this world.
Oh no.
Okay. I fully embrace that education is important and that people should pursue it to the best of their abilities in all strengths and yada, yada, yada.
What?
Okay. I said, where'd you go to school? Oh, Missouri State. Oh, cool. What'd you get your degree in? And I don't fully understand what this degree is actually supposed to be. So maybe you can help elucidate this for me. I thought he was going to say business. No. Finance. No. Entrepreneurship.
What?
Yes.
Is that? They don't actually have that, do they? That doesn't sound.
They do indeed.
Do they?
Yes, they do. They do have.
What? Why? What's the point in that?
I haven't the foggiest idea, but it is the entrepreneurship undergraduate program. Learning how to build businesses from the ground up. And I guess, you're probably wondering. Yes, Brandon, it is a 4-year degree.
Why?
In major in entrepreneurship.
But I mean, it's like in the business department, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is. It is. You can get a minor in global entrepreneurship. You can minor in online entrepreneurship or in leadership development. Those are what they recommend you get if you get a major in entrepreneurship.
Leadership development?
Yes.
Excuse you?
As a minor. Imagine being that guy, because again, let's be real. Who's going to get a leadership development minor? It's that guy. Out going. Well, I do have a minor in leadership development, so step aside, please.
What?
Oh, it hurts, right? It hurts so much.
I don't. But what? I want to know. I need to know. Okay, here. I need to know what like courses are. This is. I don't understand. Man, this is a lot to take in right now. I don't.
Isn't it though? Isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Now you can imagine where I am. I'm at a table. I just finished talking about how to get symmetrical upload and download speeds through a new fiber company. And now I'm being peppered with like client and customer acquisition, new hiring best practices, and like retention rates and blah, blah, blah. And I get this bomb dropped on me. I'm
like first of all, that this exists. Second of all, I don't know. There's a wow.
I mean, they've got they break it. Do you want me to send you the link for their 4-year degree program? They break it down for you by semester about what you need to take.
Yes, please. I need to say we have to break this down right now.
I don't think you want this 4-year plan.
Oh, I mean, here
it's a sample schedule. Your actual schedule may vary, but this is what they think you should take.
Learn to innovate. First of all, you can't learn to innovate. That's really not a thing that you can do. By the time you graduate, you'll be able to start your own company or have one already started.
So then I'm going.
You can do like right now by yourself. I say talking to you, the person who did this.
Yes.
Right now by yourself.
Indeed.
I realize I'm not giving you like new insight here. Okay. But like, I'm just saying like, all right. So, all right, listeners, let's break this down. Okay. We're going to go through before Collin laughs in the face of this, right? And says, what do you need to agree for this? So we have, this is again, suggested course plan from Missouri State University. Okay, before you think that Collin and I are unfairly ragging on the Missouri State University, it's important that you know that we are both graduates of Missouri State University. Okay, so this is important.
And I think both really enjoyed our time there and think it's a great school.
Yeah, right. Go Bears. Okay.
I still look fondly back upon my time there and think of how wonderfully it set me up for a career that I didn't end up taking. But that's beside the point.
But you did for a while and it was fine.
I did it. See, look, mission accomplished. Moving on.
Yeah. So first of all, some of these are first semester, so first fall semester freshmen. Some of these are no brainers, right? English 110. Got it. Right. Math 134. Algebraic reasoning and modeling. Okay. Yes. And okay, here's where it goes. All right. I don't know what GEP 101 is.
Oh, that's there. That was there. We had to take one like that as a freshman.
Is it just one of the like freshman like intro like learning?
Yeah, it was like
community classes or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like here's where the bowling alley is. Here's how to study. Okay. Here's how to find motivation in your life.
General education prep course. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's okay. I had to take one of those two. That's boring. Psychology. Intro to psychology. Uh-oh. First red flag. Right. And then a science, because you have to have a science somewhere. So it just says do a science, whatever. Not even highlighted. Physical science, life science, who cares? Whatever.
Doesn't matter. Not important.
Okay. Yeah. So the psychology one, that gets you. Some of these you can tell are like in there because they have to be. So the second semester, American democracy and citizenship. I think that's an everybody class.
Yes.
Right. But then here we go. Macro econ, right? Fundamentals of public speaking.
Everyone's
right. Again, a lot of degrees have that one thrown in there just for funsies.
That's the one that I passed out on at the Gilroy Theater Inn. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I still have the 5th place trophy for sure.
Oh, there we go with a bonus for falling over.
I did things.
And information technology and cybersecurity 200. Computer applications for business. Critical and creative thinking using information technology. That is a lot of words together that I don't like. Just like, right. Yeah. And then again, like a lot of degree programs are like, oh yeah, do any cultural humanity you want. Whatever. Who cares? Like you have to do some humanities. What? Fine.
Learn about it all.
Okay. Yes, a lot of these are unappealing. Again, it's a bit unfair because most college courses have names that are unappealing, right? They're not named well. You have to take a lot of junk that doesn't sound fun or interesting, right? But like semester 3, introduction to financial accounting. Oh no, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Standard, then follow up with micro econ, right? Some of these are pretty good. A more human, do an art. Who cares? Do an art.
Do. Yeah.
Managerial accounting, legal environment of business, law 231. Wowzers. That's fun.
Basic business stats.
Basic business stats. That sounds terrible.
Yes.
Right. That sounds quite horrible.
I will say, after having quickly scanned through all of these, after the 4th semester, it really falls off a cliff.
It really does.
It really,
right?
Like
a lot of this stuff is just like, oh, what else can we do? They've run out.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. By your 5th semester, you don't get to select this. It's principles of entrepreneurship. We're finally in the game, people. We're finally in the game.
I mean, it takes a lot of time. Also, principles of management, marketing. You have to have a history class, so just do it here. Some more law classes, just because I guess they feel like they need to fill out their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And entrepreneurial finance. Gross. Okay. Sixth semester it's gone wrong.
Very wrong.
So after this like really heavy fifth semester, sixth semester, this is spring, of course, right? Creativity, innovation, and ideation.
Hate is a strong word.
That's a terrible. This class is 100% made up, right? This is a class that meets in the quad, and like it's just they don't do
exactly right. Like, nobody wears shoes.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yep. Ideation is one of my least favorite words that I encounter.
That's a terrible word.
Like just create idea creation. Like just say it. It's fine. And then this is where you start selecting from your entrepreneurship list. Which is also terrible.
That does sound terrible.
Yeah.
And then they go, "Oh, you haven't taken the second English yet. Do that one,
please." Or you get angry.
Operations management, right? Feasibility study. Who knows what that means? Oh boy. And then, oh my goodness, seventh semester. This is, oh wow. Financial management, new venture management, a list of some sort of consumer or marketing research thing
/ behavior,
and then more entrepreneurial list stuff. Eighth semester is like we needed some other things to do. So eighth semester they just leave the bottom was you need 5 hours of general electives to get your total. Like
saving that gen ed for the very end. Oh yeah, baby. That's what we're doing.
That's so rough. That's weird. I don't really know what most of this is. Again, I don't know, but like this doesn't really seem like a real thing, right? Like entrepreneurship is like, first of all, entrepreneurship is just like a made up title that people give themselves, right?
Yes.
Like, what do you do? I'm an entrepreneur. It means you don't really have a job. Right.
It's like if you would like to be called somebody who is soon to be unemployed, you say an entrepreneur. If you want to somebody who's chronically unemployed, you say they are a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah. Right. It's like the joke. I feel like this is going to be a joke when you're like, what are you majoring in? Like psychology. Like, or like, I'm a philosophy major. Like, are you now?
Yeah.
Interesting. Right.
That was like, my very first reaction. I thought this was a degree cobbled together by the university to keep this person from failing. When he said that he had a degree in entrepreneurship, I was like, they wanted to get paid back on their loans. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And
right. Like I feel like it's the philosophy degree thing. Like,
and I did spend time trying to figure out but like seriously, like who is this a good fit for? Like, because who should take this degree? I don't know. And I personally don't know.
I don't either. Right? Like, I just don't know why you would do that. Right? Because like, again, I feel like a business degree will get you the same thing, right? Like, and it's more useful to you, right? Because if you tell somebody you have a degree in business, is it generic? Yes. But like, is it like broadly understood that is useful in a wide area of things? Also, yes. So I don't know what I don't understand why this exists. Because I feel like a business degree would be more useful anyway. Like if you're going to like, if we're going to accept the definition of an entrepreneur as person that starts businesses, right? Does it make sense here? We need.
Well, and so this is where I landed of a business degree is in running and managing a business.
That's true.
Entrepreneurship is what? Starting
and selling.
Just right? Exactly. The basics of getting something off the ground.
Yeah.
Which that's an entrepreneur and is taking something that wasn't there before and creating something and then moving on. So this degree does not set you up to manage this for the next 50 years. This degree
or
is
operate a business or do businessy things.
Yeah. This sets you up to go, okay, you're in, ready, go. Now, get it started. I just thought that there would be more like, I don't know, like creativity things or like, cause like understanding buyer psychology. Like there should have been more idea.
Sociology would be a good one to throw in here, right? Like, maybe that's what, maybe when they say random humanity, maybe that's what they mean. Maybe they'd be like, yo, bro, do some psych classes, do some sociology classes, right? So you can understand like the thinking process and stuff like that, right? Maybe that would be good, right? I don't really, maybe not sociology because I don't know if you want to, David Hume, probably not going to help you out too much, but like,
I'm not.
Maybe eventually, those ideas can set you up for things, right? But we can understand how people think about the market, right? And like the thoughts on the market and that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, that's just, I don't know. I feel like the whole idea, right, of being an entrepreneur, right, it leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth anyway, right? Like, maybe it's just my personal, like, feelings or my schema, right, to of like what I know about and have met people that do this, but it's like a very, like, I don't know, it seems very like, I'm trying not to say sleazy. That's what I'm trying not to say. And I did it. There we go. But like the whole idea of like, I'm going to just give you the bare bones minimum and like start what could be cool and then sell it and dip. Like, that's like, that's weird. like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't, like, why? Like, all the only reason you do that is to make money fast. Right. Nothing substantive, nothing really like of additive value, right? There could be good ideas in there somewhere, but like you don't really contribute to whether or not they succeed because you just like start and then leave. Right. It's like what early internet was like. You know what I mean? Like people start websites, they do things and they sell them off. They sell off the property and they move on. Right. It's weird and it like creates a lot of artificiality in the market space, right? There's already a lot in the market space that's like not real. Like when you start taking a lot of econ classes, you realize like it's all made up. Oh no, this is a problem.
Yeah,
like oh dear, some of this is tentative at best, right? So just like adding these things and just like doing things just to do them without any like sort of substance behind them at all is odd, right? Like there's a lot of things I can think of right now that like they do this, they're like a service, they do a thing, but it's like not a necessary service and it just causes like extra problems. You know what I mean? Like it's just weird.
Well,
somebody came up with the idea and then they probably sold it off and then somebody bought it so they can make money on it. But like, if it exists for the sole purpose of making somebody money, is that a useful thing? I would argue no, right? Like we don't need that thing. It doesn't need to exist.
Well, and the name entrepreneur it comes so loaded because you're right. It does sound super sleazy.
It sounds just really skeezy.
I've never understood why people don't just say business owner, but I think the important part is that the ownership aspect is not the important thing to them. It's the I generated the idea for this, and now I got to bounce and move on to something else.
Yeah,
right. Like I'm not here for the long haul. I just generate and I leave, and whether I may get the business up and running, and then I move on to my next venture, right? And it still may run, or
but
I get to a certain point.
Yeah.
So today, while I had to I had to select a button that says I was an entrepreneur, I had all these feelings going through my head.
No,
right? Because I went to a business, another business network.
But you're a business owner, right? You generated the idea, and then you are owner operator.
Yes, owner operator. But it's like that's not. They
make
don't
your
care.
own sticker,
right? So I was at a business networking event, another one. So again, we're just transplanting all of my feelings from my conversations with the person who had the degree in entrepreneurship. Like that's something they paid money for, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to understand more and more why you did your own business thingy. Right, it makes this makes a lot of sense, right? Like I don't.
Right, where we were just like, no, we'll go at this on our own. Like I just and so all of my feelings and the dark shadow that looms over me is going to this. I was at another business thing, and they we'd love to have you come back and speak. It was someplace that I had spoken to like a year and a half ago, and they wanted me to come back and update on how everything went. So I went online to fill out my application to submit to them, to tell them what I wanted to do, and here I had to describe myself. And I would like to. Here are my 5 options. Ready?
Oh no, I don't like those questions. I one time when I had to do that for something, they told me to describe myself, and I put indescribable.
Okay, well, I don't get to fill in the blank here. So
I got to fill in the blank. It was great.
No. I put here are my 5 options. This is to describe myself, to apply to be a speaker. I did have to do this last time because the first time you don't have to do this process, but it's fine. Okay. I can describe that I am an investor.
Oh no.
I can say that I provide services to entrepreneurs, or that I represent an organization that supports entrepreneurs, or I am an entrepreneur. And the 5th option is other, which is not, it doesn't really do a whole lot there now, does it?
I mean, but you're not any of those things. You can't even fill in other? A lot of times they have other and then please explain.
No, right? It's just other.
Then you could sneak in owner operator.
Blam. Nope. Yeah. And I was like, I don't
want to speak here anymore.
I don't want to do this because, right. I have all of those feelings about this of truthfully, here's how, look, capitalism, we've talked about the interesting aspects that happens in the kitchens as these move forward, and the dangers therein about refining and seeking after higher profits while leaving behind pink and tan refrigerators and the horror that is left upon our lives. Yes. That's been well discussed and documented here. But here's the thing, when it actually works, somebody brings an idea to the marketplace and people either like it or not, and then you fail or you succeed.
Yeah. In theory, yes, that's how it should work.
In theory, that's in the broad scope.
It actually works, but that's how it should work.
Those are the general mechanics around this of if your idea is good and you can, and then the important part of okay, now can you get it in front of enough people to, that's where the marketing aspect and these things come into it. But it's the whole degree, I just really struggle with this of the value, does that really bring value to the person getting this? Because if they don't have an idea, none of those coursework are important. If you go into this going, I want to be an entrepreneur, that's not a career plan, people. That's it's something that you kind of find yourself in once you've created something.
It's true. However, one of the stated goals of the degree path, I will say, is to have be able to be starting a business while you're there, right? So if that is the goal, like to be like basically do your first run through with people there, like advisors. Like that makes sense a little bit, right? But it's that to me speaks more. It's more like internshipy stuff, right? Not necessarily that. So,
or you don't even have to do this because the Small Business Association (SBA) has ready for this, people
stuff already for
ready.
You. Yeah,
these are free programs.
Yeah,
free.
I was gonna bring that up here in a minute. Yeah, that's
okay. Well, there is one in your town. If you go to the Chamber of Commerce and ask about the SBA programs, if you go to a community college, 4-year college, and ask about their small business programs, they will sit down and they will work with you and an advisor for free or like $50. And I'm not even joking on this. There's an accelerator program here. Okay, so $50, it's $300. And what you do, it's an 8-week program. They take you from hi, welcome to you may go out and get your business off the ground in 8 weeks, people. 8, and it's $300.
Yeah.
Versus 4 years. Like you don't need this.
Yeah. I'm gonna say also the internet exists. Right.
Yeah.
Now there is a danger with doing unguided things like this on the internet because there's a lot of trash out there. Right. There's a lot of like dudes that are going to be like, yo, take my course. Don't do that. Don't do that either. That's a bad idea.
Okay. Which I'm just going like, if you're interested in this, dear listener, if you're interested in starting your own business, by all means, get ready to start your own business. Find local programs with free coaches through Small Business Association or even through community college will have free support where you can go and you can audit a finance class. You can audit these classes without having to enroll and just go, right? And not go into, because here's the other problem of like, okay, so you're going to take on loans to go pay for an education that's going to teach you about business finances so that you can go probably take out loans to go start your business. Like, where's the end go? Like, especially when there are so many other options and most businesses don't even require to go into debt to get started. Why would you go into debt to get your education when you can go to other places? It really hurts me greatly to think about this.
Yeah, it's that's real weird. I don't know. That's yeah. There's so much stuff already. Like that's not a thing that you need. That's just weird. Especially if you're just like the idea guy.
Yeah.
Right? Then you just like really all you got to do, if all you're going to do is like start and then leave. Right? This is what like the startup thing, right? Like startup culture, right? I thought that was dead, but I guess not.
Oh
no. Like you just need a loan and the ideas, and then you like hire people that know how to do it. Right.
And that's the
other option.
This is
pay them.
What everybody will tell you when you start your business is the sooner you can get things off of your plate that you don't know how to do, the better. And that in the long run, it's better to pay the tax accountant to do your taxes if you don't want to worry about them. Sure, you should be knowledgeable enough to have to converse with your tax accountant and understand what they're telling you, but to actually sit down and implement it and follow the tax code and everything, that's not you. Right? That's not what you're doing. It's not important. Or the operations or whatever. Like, get it off of your plate. Find somebody, hire somebody, or outsource it to a third party person to get it taken care of for you. And so it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to learn about finances, but I'm actually never going to do the finances because I'm just going to hire somebody to do that anyway, and they're going to take it on. And I'm just here to shoot from the hip and bring ideas into it. That's fine. If you want to be an idea person, surround yourself with a good team of people who can tell you how realistic it is or isn't, and then can set the pace to make it happen. Like that's how these businesses are actually successful.
Yes, I would agree. It's not about you only. It's about the people you choose to work with.
Yeah.
Right. That's the important bit here. Like that's
here's the other aspect of this is entrepreneurship is a very solo individualistic concept and idea. Fundamentally just okay, this is probably me because it's late at night and I've had a day. It's a very selfish concept.
Oh yeah, no.
because it's like, no, what do you mean you're the entrepreneur here? Like, no, there's such a team behind you in this, that none of this would be possible without them. And yet the whole idea of an entrepreneur, right? It's not a team of entrepreneurs. There's a entrepreneur doing all of this stuff. And that idea really makes me angry.
No, that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, yeah, because business, I guess, like the connotation is there. There's definitely more than one person here.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, like entrepreneurial, whatever, not it's like you think like dude, right? But clearly, not one person is not doing all this stuff.
No,
like that's not feasible. Like you can't be good and an expert in like all of these things, right? You just have to like do that, right? And so I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah. So while all this is brewing in my brain, I'm sitting and listening to a presenter talk about Gen Z in the workforce, and which is very fascinating because again, like right before I sat down to listen to this presenter, I was talking with a gentleman who has a 20-year-old daughter, talking about her working, and I had said we have some of our I have 15 coming up on 16 staff members. Some of our most passionate people on the team are Gen Zers. We have hired some absolutely outstanding 18, 19-year-olds, some 20-year-olds that have worked for us, like absolutely stellar. When they get on board with the mission, they're ride or die, right? Like they're dedicated. They're going to see it through. Do I have to manage them a little differently? Sure. But once they're on board, they're ready to go. So like we have no qualms. Like and that goes against what a lot of people say of Gen Z are lazy, Gen Z don't want to work, they're entitled, they're blah 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 blah. And so we're gonna, don't worry about them. That same thing with every generation, as also we have talked about on this episode on this podcast before, where you find the right ones that work for you, and then the other ones aren't going to do that. So then a gentleman got up to talk about Gen Z in the workforce. He himself being a Gen Z, running a company with only Gen Z people who working for him, marketing their consultation services to businesses to better connect with Gen Zers. An interesting concept.
It is. Yeah.
Because
very much so.
Okay. So look, I'm going to just track with me on this. His origin story was I was turned down by over 20 jobs. So I was denied traditional employment. So I started my own company. And now I'm helping other businesses learn how to employ Gen Zers. And I'm trying to consult with HR departments to manage Gen Zers. And I'm trying to work with marketing departments for how to better market to Gen Zers if your company wants to have a service or product in front of Gen Z. Because who knows Gen Z better than Gen Z?
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those additive services that is a bit odd, right? Because like, here's the other solution. Have you tried talking to somebody?
No.
No? Okay. No, and you can't figure out what's the matter? Like, have you ever like spoken to a person about this?
Yeah.
No. But I just
I'm I'm sitting here listening and I'm like,
what?
I'm pretty sure market research is a thing, right? This is not new. This is how people have come to understand their clients or their potential clients or their target market for years.
At least since the big advertising push of like the late 40s, right? This has been a thing, right? Like
I don't think a company needs to know
when modern advertisement was born.
How do I talk to a segment of the market? Like they've got that nailed down. Like focus groups, market research, surveys, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
The employing Gen Z thing was also interesting to me, because because it was there was also a little bit of and I had actually talked to one of the members of the business before they had started presenting, because I was like, well, what's your role with the company? And he's the liaison, he's the sales guy. He goes into companies to sell the services and then comes back to the company and figures out how to like best meet their needs and stuff. And I just asked, I said, so do you ever encounter some issues with your age when you're talking to people? Because you're 19. Your people in this room are very much not 19. And he was like, yeah, I do. I do get that sometimes, but I focus on being prepared, and I know they want professionalism and they want answers. So I come in ready to meet their needs. And I was like, wow, how weird. You know your target market. How could they ever possibly get to know you? You want? That's wild. Did you talk to a 60-year-old person to figure that out? Like, it's like, no, he just did his research.
Oh my god!
But anyway,
just talked to his grandpa and was like, "Hey, what do we do?"
Yeah, what would make you buy from me? Oh, great! So if I came in dressed well, and knew my product and was courteous to you and deferential, that would make you respect me more. Oh, okay, cool. So I'll just do
weird.
that. Right?
Yeah,
it's wild,
strange,
it's insane. But there's these weird tensions of during the talk of like, Gen Z hates this town, and they hate this town because there's nothing for them, and they can't get jobs that they want. And then it was like, well, what jobs are they applying for? And it was like managerial positions and stuff. And I was like, look, I don't want to be that guy, but like also like, there's steps, and I don't want to be like traditionalist or here, whatever, but like you can't, like there's knowledge and experience and things that work your way up. Like like a lot of questions running through my head about this, right? Of like, there are people ready for positions and can do things and are very qualified no matter their age. And but if you applying to like, well, let me come in, I'm going to run your company for you. Oh, you don't want me to do that? Well, that's weird. Okay, I guess I can't get this job. That's a little different, right? Of like, what are the exact expectations for this kind of employment relationship?
Yes, right. Like, and also like, there's a lot of like, there is a bit of an upend of like, well, I don't want to start at like the very lowest paying job ever.
Right.
Because like, we know that currently there's a lot going on. It's like people aren't like, the salary to like expenditure ratio is a little bit wonky, right? And that is, there's a lot of pushback against that. And I think some of that is just being like spitefully like, okay, well, I can't afford to take your entry level position, so I'm just gonna go for this, right? Like I think that's that too. Like,
yes, likewise of salaries have not kept pace with inflation or cost of living. This is a fact. This is an absolute fact. So that is a conversation with businesses to look at pay structure in accordance with those positions, about this but like, in order to manage something, there's a lot of like knowing company culture, knowing ins and outs of the dramas and things like that, and how to handle those situations, how to present things. So there's a lot, and those aren't like, no, you can't learn this until you're 40. Like, no, like with the proper exposure, guidance, and mentorship, like you can get people there. Like that's not a problem. But getting their foot in the door, and getting access to that, and getting good mentorship, and that was kind of towards the end. There was a better discussion about mentoring Gen Zers, because there was a good point of like, yeah, there's a young professionals group with the Chamber of Commerce, but it's for like 30-year-olds. And I was like, yeah,
not very young.
Not very young. Interesting. Basically, like, no, you're not a professional until you're, 30. And I was like, yeah, I can definitely see a millennial made this program, right? Like this is a very millennial thing of like, yeah, we're young. And so am I one of the worst use of statistics ever? Not ever, but like
I bet
today.
they're quite bad. I know.
Okay. Was the use of brain drain. Okay. And do want to ask you, when you think of brain drain for a city, what comes to mind?
First of all, that sounds like some sort of like weird 90s cartoon thing, right? Like brain drain. That's just what first pops to my mind.
Sure.
But I would imagine they're using it in a context of people like leaving an area, right?
Yeah. Now, do you think those people are they locals, or are they people coming in from out of town, or I don't know, overseas?
Well, if you're talking about draining, I would infer that you would be talking about people that were local to that area leaving.
Yeah.
Thus
So
draining the brain power and manpower of the area.
Yes. So
that you're discussing.
So a statistic about the graduation rates of people from a local, I don't know, kind of relatively international university, and the number of applicants who graduate and then go back, quote unquote, home. This would not fit that definition appropriately, would it?
No, this statistic is not applicable in a university town setting because you have an abnormally high number of people, right? These are not like permanent residents, right? You don't like live there. Right? You cannot figure them into your calculation, into your graph. So if you add that into your data set is horrible. Right? It's terrible. That is the worst data collection ever. My 6th grade kids could tell you that that's a bad science idea, right? What in the world?
How crazy that an individual who comes from China to get a degree at our program, who has a relationship with China, is going to go back home to China.
That's the whole point of a university.
Right. It's not brain drain. They were never here. There's nothing to drain. They were added, and then they went back home. Same thing with people who come here from Kansas City or St. Louis or all other parts of the country. Like, they're not from here. Statistically, they're not likely to remain here. Like, that's
So like, let's think about this. Okay, we're gonna pick just arbitrarily Cambridge, Massachusetts. All right, because no reason why you would pick that particular location other than I saw it across the river this summer. So there you go. Sure. That's the only reason we're bringing that up.
Sure.
Wink. If you pick Cambridge, Massachusetts, right? It's marginally known for its education system, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Right. So are you telling me that you think people are going to come from all over the world in the country to Cambridge, to some of the most prestigious universities in the world, and then graduate from these universities and then all stay in Cambridge?
all of them.
All of them. Okay. Sure. Why would you think that would be happening? That doesn't, like, basically, if you think about a university, right, it is exporting. It's an export business.
Yes.
Right?
Because
they come and the students learn things, right? They learn, Harvard-y things, right? And then they leave again.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It's non-permanent residence, right? Yeah. You're there for a little bit and then you go away. That's not draining.
Yes.
That's not draining a resource because also what's happening, right? What you're failing to, the other let me say one other of the many things that you're not thinking about here is if you have people coming into your area to attend a university, globally, right? Then those people are leaving. Okay. But at the same time, more people are coming, right? At like the same rate. So it's like,
yeah,
really, at any given time when the school is in session, the number of people there for that reason is still relatively the same, right? Plus or minus some per year, obviously. But like, even if this wasn't a terrible data gathering exercise, you didn't think about that part. Like, yeah, all these people are leaving. Yes, but other people are coming. right? They're not just gonna leave and then shut down the university. Like, oh no one's here.
We're
like,
all done. All done.
We're all done now. That's not how this works.
We finished. It's done.
This is terrible.
Wait. So no, because of this statistic, it's like how many? Okay, if you really want to figure that,
my brain has been drained. That's what's happened.
How many locals went to a local university and then left, or how many locals left the town to seek other employment or other education and never came back?
That happened. That is the drain part.
That is the drain part. My opportunities are not here. I graduated with a degree. I can't use it locally. I've got to go somewhere else. That happens.
Yes.
Now, you have to ask. Let's say so. Anyway, this stat is completely bunk, and it was from that launch pad that basically was like, we need to remake this town. We need to redesign this. The businesses are terrible, and they're not meeting our needs because yada yada yada, whatever generational differences that aren't real. So we like what I actually see is like, okay, no, I do some research and show me how many people actually left that were born and raised in the general 100-mile radius or something, and or people who said, I graduated with a degree and I couldn't use it here and I left. Because at that point, then you have to ask yourself, okay, does the person who graduated with an astrophysicist degree, is there employment opportunities for that person here? Or do they have to go to Cambridge? Or do they have to go somewhere else? Because there's no economy here for that. Then we ask ourselves, do we want to make an economy for astrophysicists here? Or is that not something that's going to be feasible for us? Because the point of the university is not just to supply the local labor market with labor and brains. Like, that's not the point of it. The point is to educate people in subject matters and expertise that are generally widely accepted or whatever, like, internationally. it's like,
yeah. I mean that really gets to a good point of like, what is the point of the education, right? Like, what is it for, right? If the point of education is only to service the labor market, that's not useful.
yeah,
right. But if it is in fact to create smarter, better people to then go out in the world and then do things with their education to make the world a better place, shock, that's what it's actually for. That's fine. That doesn't matter. Right. So you can't say, oh no, there's nobody, no graduates from this university are coming to work at my, XYZ business. Like, yeah, no, they're not, because why would they? No. Right. Like, why would they do that?
Yeah. If you wanted to actually look at a corollary to this, for a program that is actually somewhat designed to service a labor market, there's a 2-year technical college in the same town.
Yeah.
Who actually partners with local businesses to guarantee employment for people who get out of there with their program. Right?
Almost like that is a place for people who want to be in the workforce, who want to work in those labor industries, right? Who need but they need training in order to enter them, because the skill floor to enter some of those industries is very high.
Yes.
Right. And so you have to come up to that and then, surpass it to move on and improve. Right. So like, if you want to be a tradesman, like a welder, right? Because I know a lot of kids who want to be welders. So,
yeah,
like, if you want to do that, this is excellent, right? This is cool because there's a lot of jobs for this. There's a lot of need for this skill. It's a very important thing, and like we need that is an important skill that benefits everyone, right? But being able to weld things well is great.
I
right?
mean, foundational to so much of things
of our society, and a thing that I cannot do. Right there, you go. So if those people want to do that, then yes, the vocational education where you learn to do that skill, you master that, or you begin your journey to mastering that skill, and then can move on and go apply this skill and improve and on your journey. Like, this is fine, right? But if you want people to be welders and you're measuring the welder output of your community by how many people graduated with psychology degrees, not helpful, right? Or if you're measuring the number of potential welding jobs by how many people graduated with medical degrees of some sort, not helpful.
Right. Well, and it's not just like, and I think it's important to note like the non-distinction we're making between these. Like it's not, we're talking about doctors versus welders because the brain drain could only happen with doctors. No. Welding is an art craft and a skill form far beyond anything I could ever do, and takes thought and planning, and is truly a cerebral process in making it accomplished. Like it's a gift and a training, and it's intensive and it's hard, and that those people could equally as leave, but like or whatever program.
There's not of opportunities for that there either, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not. So yeah, that's the weird question here. I feel like there's a lot loaded into this bad science, right? There is like some bias towards certain educations over others, right? There is definitely intrinsic bias into certain jobs over others, right? Because these businessy people, right, they're talking about people to work in like marketing and stuff, right? And so
consulting,
right? That's not I don't know how to tell you this, but that's not a pool that you need just like tons of people in.
Well,
right? Like, I mean, they would think so because that's what they do. Right?
Let me show you. Let's circle this conversation back around to the entrepreneurship degree program.
Oh man, yeah, like this, like a consulting firm. Again, that's a thing that's like not real, right? That's a job that's not real, right? Whereas like welder has a real job, bro. I don't know what's like. That's a real deal thing. You know what I mean? Like and you can't like these. I feel like there's a lot of this bias, and like a lot of these people think like if I'm a consultant, right, and it means I'm adding value and I make all this money. Like, bro, do you know how much money welders make? Like,
I know
it's stupid.
It is.
Okay? Like, there's just a lot of this bias, and like it's like this weird classism of like, oh yeah, well, your job is not as important as mine. Like, you don't do anything as a consultant.
No. Would you be surprised to know that the person presenting runs a consulting company?
It's a consulting firm? Yeah.
It's a consulting firm.
Again, it's not a real thing, right?
No.
That's like all these businesses that are out right now. Like, their job is to like resell stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a real thing, right? You're like what you're doing is you're making somebody's life easier, but you're not like adding any market value.
No.
Right. So like I was ranting about this to somebody. This Carvana ads that are all everywhere.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like, so this site, this listeners, if you're unfamiliar, and my outside of the US friends, like, there's a website where they will just like buy your car from you and then they will resell it. Right. This adds convenience to your life, but it adds no value to anything except for it makes all the cars they sell more expensive because they're going to just mark them all up so that they can make a profit on their quote service.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, these things are, this is like, I guess it's a convenient thing, but like, it's not adding anything except for like arbitrary cost to stuff.
Well, it increases the cost to the next purchaser of the car because now that person has to increase the price of that car to recoup the money that it took for them to acquire it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like, these are not real things. Like a consulting firm, like there are instances where these type of things are useful, right? It's not like every decision you make needs to go through a consulting firm, right? It's not a real thing.
And and it just completely discounts things again. Like what? Just there were so many questions that was flying through my mind here of like the what ifs and what abouts and have you looked into this? And you're talking about this, but it was genuinely like Gen Z hates this town. And the reason they hate this town is because there's nothing to do here and there's nothing for them. And it's got a low, starting salaries are super low. And now I will say salaries in the town are low. However, they also live in one of the lowest cost of living places in the United States.
Yeah. So like that, you have to take that into account.
So here's the problem. If you want to go in to be a marketing consultant, you're going to Google marketing consultants, and they're going to give you a range of what a marketing consultant can make, everywhere from Louisiana to New York City. And those just are not realistic. I mean, New York City, California, like there's a big skewed portion here that makes it hard when people can live and work remotely. And now are like, well, why am I not making the same salary as somebody who's doing this in California when I'm here in this town? And you're like,
well, you're in the Midwest, my guy.
Midwest. And one of the things we like about it here is that I don't need to make as much money to meet my demands. Like, I just don't. Like, my cost of living is low. That's why I live here. I don't need a lot of money. And so if you're only worried about that top dollar figure because you're looking at, I'm going to say it, okay, social media, TikTok, the finance bros,
that's
these people who are driving this, who's let's look at the real estate investor out in California who does this flipping things and he charges or the guy who makes a living. This is a totally legitimate business, people. I'm not discounting this. Please do not hear what I'm saying. The people who go around and they do the power washing and cleaning of garbage cans.
Oh yeah.
Right. This is a fantastic service. You cannot charge California prices here in the Midwest.
No.
And so you can't look at, if I just do 3 of these a week and I do blah, 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 and I do the math and blah, blah, and you go, sweet, I got it. And I'm going to go do this. And wait, I can't. That's weird. Well, that must be because they hate me or because they don't value my service or whatever. This place sucks. I don't want to live here. Wrong inferences need to be made.
Yeah.
Like you should always start with like, what does it take me to actually live? What's my basis here? What's my foundation? And now what can I do, put together, make to make that meet? And that's, again, see previous mention of salaries not rising to meet cost of living stuff. Like that's a whole other discussion to make. But you've got to be careful where you're doing your comparisons, and you've got to be careful about how you are assuming and why you're assuming people are leaving. And then drawing all of your inferences from that. And then we're basically saying we need to remake, because there was discussions of remake basically the entire local economy and also, oh, by the way, local government to better suit Gen Z needs. And I was like, what?
I don't. What?
Okay.
Calm down.
Okay.
Again, this is because consulting people. Right. Again, okay, so I'm not gonna. Okay, so let me back up just one step. Right there, I'm sure there are some consultant people who are like actually good at their job. Right, but a lot of them are like, it's just like buzzwordy stuff. Right. I feel like a lot of the people that do this are like not actually experts in any of these areas. Right. And so like I don't really know what they're supposed to consult about. But yeah, but again, if there's one, if that's even real, if there's a generational aspect of the community that is dissatisfied with the things going on, right? If only, like you said, if only there was some tried and true techniques to understand what they were having trouble with and things that needs that they have that need to be met. If only there was some sort of way that you could research that market. I mean, or just, talk to them instead of making inferences about what they need based on something you saw.
Or one person's experience that is like, well, this is my truth, so this is what I must speak at all times. Because here's also thing about consultants, as well as like political commentators. What's the one thing that neither of those two people have to actually do?
Tell the truth.
Well, okay, so
sorry. You got me with the political commentator thing.
Sorry. So that's maybe a curveball. Okay, ready? They never actually have to do what they say needs to be done.
Yeah.
Right? They don't actually have to do boots on the ground implementation. They just say, you want to solve your problem? Do this thing. Okay, bye. That's all they have to do. They don't actually have to work within the strictures and the realities of what that actually means.
They also don't have to do any listening, right?
No.
They only talk.
Only talk.
Right? They only do any talking. So like, again, if you think somebody is upset about something, ask them what they're upset about.
Right.
It's not rocket science, right? Like, it's like, these are things, these are very basic principles of like human decency, right? Like, we feel upset about this. You're like, okay, let's hear what you have to say. And then shut it.
And,
right? Like, that's what you gotta do.
And understand that it goes both ways, people. Like, okay, I'm born into a system that or let's say it's like, okay, this system doesn't apparently fit me. A great question to ask is, okay, what does not fit to me? And importantly, do I fully understand the system and how it functions? Right? Before I start demanding changes or things like that, going, do I know where the history from this came from? What's the onus on me personally for how I'm engaging, interacting, understanding this? Or am I only acting out of, I don't like the way this is. I don't like the way this is. Now, those voices are important for eliciting change and starting conversations and making sure that we don't end up in the status quo, right? Those are really important.
That's true.
Right. Of going, well, I don't like the system. Understand the system, history of it, and then move forward. Because a lot of frustrations out of things come from misunderstandings or misinterpretations of how things work, or going, ooh, right, the system could be better, but given XYZ and the restrictions that we have around this thing, the system we have in place is actually pretty good, I guess. Maybe we can work on some things to make it better down the line, but like, just total governmental overhaul because this town doesn't like Gen Z. I'm like, whoa.
Especially the local government, right? That's a weird one because like local government usually the most useful government, right?
Yeah,
like
because they're touching their constituents the most, right?
Yeah,
they're serving their needs in the most intimate way,
most directly.
Yes,
right. So like normally, again, not always, obviously, because we all do know that no matter what Collin says, that there is the way that government is designed to work, and then there's the way that it does work.
Perfectly.
Those are not the same
every time.
Those are not the same. Right?
Anyway,
but yeah, like local government is like in my opinion, right, in my jaded old punk rock man opinion, right, the local government's actually normally the best functioning and most useful government that you
it's going to be the most responsive comparatively, right, to the state and federal.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most engaged comparatively.
Right. And part of that is because it has to serve a comparatively smaller number of people.
Absolutely. Which is good.
Right. The whole point that you have it. Right. Yeah. That's why we have the tiers system. Right. Although
funny
recently, I don't really know why we have the state government sometimes because they just do weird stuff that doesn't make any sense. But maybe that's just the Missouri state government. I don't know.
It's all of them.
That's part of it, right? But yeah, the local government is like they're in tune with this stuff, right? They're generally doing a lot of stuff. They have a lot of more like elections, like just like randomly, right? They do a lot more things, right? Because they are like things move quicker, right?
Yeah.
And so being like, we have to overhaul the entire system of government to meet the needs of this one demographic, right, is weird, especially because the demographic is an age group, right? I understand having to overhaul big systems of government to like better accommodate like, you know, like races of people where in the past they have been like discriminated against, and you have to go, oh, this, okay, we have to fix this. Okay, that makes sense to me. I understand this. That makes sense. But to overhaul the whole government based on an age demographic seems weird. Right? When you could just like do minor things to include them more.
Sure would be wild,
right? Like maybe it's like making a series of small changes over time adds up to big changes in the long run. It's almost like that's a thing that you can do, especially at the local government level.
So all of this,
man, I don't know,
was running through my head as I remembered that I had homework from last week. That down because I had a haiku to write.
Okay. Oh yes.
Okay. I did have a haiku to write. Now I'm terrible at haikus.
I mean, we all are. I mean, both of us. I mean, I don't. Not there are good haiku writers in the world, right? That's true. But
okay. So this will be
in the American public school system. Haikus are used only to discuss syllables. Right. That's really it.
It's great educational. There's no rich history or art form behind them. It's just syllable count and how to
syllable counting.
Yeah.
Maybe other people. I mean, I'm sure there are poets who have like studied them a lot more, right? Actually read haikus. Okay. In the U.S. public school system that I went to, I can only speak for mine.
Mm-hmm.
Haikus we did at one point discuss like they're like often about nature, but not exclusively.
Yes, very nature
but mostly they're used for discussing syllables in words.
So I, as a way to lighten the mood, as we end here to get away from the what we just did, I figured I should end on a haiku. Close out here. So
let's go.
So we was challenged to talk about a train haiku. So specifically, I don't know. Do I need to describe this too much? But the scenario here is taking children to Model Train Expo.
Here we go. See last week's episode.
The expo. Model trains chug by. Child's eyes wide with delight. New hobby takes flight.
Oh, there we go, ladies and gentlemen.
How'd I do?
Pretty good.
Okay.
I like it.
Takes flight. Yeah. So, the computer program really wants me to say is taking flight in Google Docs does not understand haikus.
Sorry, Google. I gotta get
better luck.
Gotta get right with your haiku-ness. Okay. Don't need all those linking words in there.
No. So the weekly challenge continues, and next week Brandon will do one about Gen Z and overhauling government. So
okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Viva la revolution, I guess. We'll see. There will be a haiku next week. Subject to be determined.
To be determined. No, that's fine.
Don't know how I feel about. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe I'll try. I'll try working it.
Do our best. Okay. Well, on that eagerness and with which we await, we will hold our breath to see what arrives next week.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.